If you're 20s, do all of that. Work day and night. Really do as many things, learn as much as you can, fail as often as possible.
What about work-life balance in your 20s?
Fuck it. Because that's the time to put in the hard work.
It's the bullshit that they try to sell to us. It's the bullshit that they flood your mind with and you start to believe. It's the same bullshit that we saw in the movies and TV shows of what your 20s are supposed to look like. I'm here to say, yo, fuck your 20s. The only thing I agree with from that fucking clip of that guy, and that's part of the toxic motivation that they give out to people, but they take away the reality and the human side of how things are meant to go, and they just flood you with this efficiency, productivity mindsets, like slaves, really. Like, we're gonna push you and whip you, and it's like, oh, you're young, so you can handle it. It's like, what the fuck? Is that what being young is supposed to mean? About fuck your 20s, burn the timeline, and enjoy the process. To kill that timeline in your mind of what all the things you're supposed to accomplish by this certain age. Your 20s are the best years of your life. Part of the bullshit they tell you. You should have your own business by 25. You should be married by 27, 29, 30, whatever it may be. And they create these societal expectations and pressure and checklists and goals. They program you from when you're very young to believe that you must do these things by a certain age in your 20s. If not, you are failing or you're somehow behind. All of that is bullshit. It's easier for me to manage it because I don't look up to most people anyway. So I kind of just let it go. I'm just playing pass by. But sometimes the noise gets to me and I need someone in my corner to wake me up and tell me, yo, smell the fucking coffee, man. What are you doing? So I'm going to do what that person did for me to all the people who are listening right now. Smell the fucking coffee. Fuck all their opinions. Your 20s suck. And they're going to keep on sucking because you're not good at anything. But you'll figure it out on your own timeline. Now, I call this episode Fuck Your 20s just because it's important for people to understand what your 20s actually are, not what the movies have told you, not what fucking Hollywood are trying to program our minds into believing about our 20s being this magical. You're going to look back on it and be like, wow, what a great time and era in my life. Nah, like, I mean, I guess if you're like, how do I say this respectfully? I guess if you peak at 25, then yeah, you may look back on it, but that's not anyone's goal. You're supposed to get older, get better, get richer, look better, take care of yourself more, create more love in your life, surround yourself with better people. By better people, I mean just a lot more loving people. That's the intangibles of what truly matters anyway. Your 20s are not this secret time, you know. They were never meant to be measured by timelines, glow ups, or perfectly curated highlights. These years were never supposed to be polished. They were meant to be formated. They're meant to be messy. They're meant to be chaotic and raw. Which is the part of the clip that I agreed with. Only part of the clip that I agreed with, which is it's supposed to be filled with you trying out new things and failing at things and figuring out what you enjoy and what you want to do. Because the most important part of your 20s that they do not highlight enough is that it takes time to find direction. For very few people, they find the direction early on. For most people, you're going to have to try out many things over and over again until you finally figure out that this is actually what you enjoy. Then you drill, pause. But you drill and you keep going harder, pause. In the lane you want to go in to carve your name into the legacy or the history books of whatever it is that you're going as. To create and innovate your own thing as well. Somehow along the way, we're sold that dream that you have to be successful, self-aware, in love, fulfilled, all these things, but it's before you even turn fucking 23, 24, 25. By 27, you're supposed to be this big woman or big man that's doing this and that. It's like, what part of reality are people living in? Like that is not the case for many. For a few, yeah, for the Mark Zuckerbergs of this world, sure. But for most people, that's not how it goes down. So why do we have that imaginary timeline that we must do this by then? If not, it's too late. Where does that come from? Where does that dream, where does that idea come from? So what if I told you that whatever mess you're in right now, that you're not behind, the mess is exactly what you need. The mess is not the problem. The mess is the process. It's you, what you need as a person, what makes money, what are you good at, what do you enjoy, what has a greater purpose attached to it that makes you push even during the moments of your life where the adversity hits. What forms an escape for you and yet still makes you money because you're good at it. It's just good enough that you're better than other people in this who may have worked harder, but for some reason you're in alignment with what you're doing, so it feels easier for you to do it. That's what it is. That's what you're trying to find out. For some people, very few people, you're figuring out in your 20s. For some other people in their 30s, or other people in their 40s, 50s. But the moment you figure out that direction, you've solved something incredible. But you can't force it. You can't force the timeline. It will happen when it happens. The only thing you can't do is to make sure you keep trying out new things so you can figure out what exactly it says for you. Gain your experiences, meet new people, open your mind up to a whole new way of life, a whole new way of thinking. So this episode is for the people questioning where they are, who they are, and why nothing looks the way they thought it would. AKA me. It's gonna be a good episode, man. Yo, so fuck your 20s, man. Never forget it. I like putting up people's stories just so we know that like we're not just talking for the sake of talking. Like, is that real life people who have had these same, people that have been at this same crossroads as us and have an idea of what this means, and it's the reality. It's not the made up stories that, you know, Disney tells you about what this is meant to be and how I just tripped and it happened to success and how everything just came about for me. It takes 10 years to become an overnight success. For some people, it takes even longer. Elizabeth Gilbert, I don't know if anyone listening knows who that is. To be fair, I've never actually read the Eat, Pray, Love book, but I love the movie. The movie is one of the best movies I've ever watched. Very introspective, very deep. Let me say very deep, but very introspective, and like it makes you question life and how things align in a certain way, right? And she's the author of the book. The movie was based on the book, in case anyone ever didn't know that it was based on a book. But in her 20s, she was lost, heartbroken, going through a painful divorce, sinking into depression. She ran away from everything and everyone. The heartbreak became Eat, Pray, Love. That book sold over 15 million copies. But in her life, her 20s were completely lost, scared. How the fuck is she going to make money from being a writer? That's what everyone wanted. And she was a waitress during these years of her life as well. Like, she had no clue that things were going to work out for her this well. Like, she was doing what she enjoyed and she hoped something would happen. And in that time, if she felt like she was behind everyone else around her who was doing this and that, like, there is no timeline for these things. Like, you're going to get what you deserve. You're going to get what you worked for. You're going to get what you sacrificed for. But you have to stick by it, even when everyone around you starts to question your decision. So in her 20s, she looked like she was a lost bum roaming these streets trying to be a writer. And it took years for her to get to that point, but she did get there, and she hit it off big time. 15 million copies sold. Over 15 million copies sold. In her 20s, poor, hungry, and housing insecure. She lived in buildings, infested with rats and roaches, stealing food to survive. No confidence, no No red carpets for her, no recognition, just raw talent and quiet endurance, man. Like anyone who's watched How to Get Away with Murder, man, you know she wasn't acting. You know someone like her has seen some suffering. Cause damn, like the wig, the drinking, the eyes, the lips, the shouting, the voice, the darkness. You could see it in the eyes. You was like, yo, I know Viola Davis is a great actor, but damn, like you're not that good. Like you know, when you watch that, you know this person has suffered. You know, sometimes you can tell when someone has like suffered in life. And like when I see so, yo, when I see someone that has, God forgive me, man. When I see someone that has like the Michael Jordan eyes, you know, this the yellow eyes, man, like this malnutrition eyes, they're like, damn, this person has seen some shit. That's how I feel when I was watching How to Get Away with Murder and I was watching Viola Davis. I'm like, I know she's meant to be acting right now, but some of this is not acting, man. Like, she's seen some shit. The tears, the snorts when she's crying, yo. At 28, she had a breakthrough, which changed everything. And that same story has built something incredible. Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony. But her breakthrough came later years in her 20s. There is no timeline for this. Please don't forget that. Shonda Rhimes, most of her 20s, unemployed and writing alone in her apartment. Shonda Rhimes wrote, or did she write it or did she produce it, direct it? I can't remember. But she was behind Scandal. And she was also behind How to Get Away with Murder. And I think she was behind Bridgerton as well. And something else. And if you watch Scandal, she's a genius. How to Get Away with Murder, she's a genius. Like Shonda Rhimes was amazing. Most of her 20s, unemployed, writing alone in her apartment. Nothing but struggle and a dream. She was constantly rejected. No agents, no interest. But she kept on writing. And in her 30s, she created Grey's Anatomy, and then later on Scandal and Bridgerton and all these defining generational TV shows. Fourth example, Trevor Noah performed underground comedy gigs in South Africa. He was fucking broke, invincible, dead, no recognition, no praise. He didn't go viral. He just got better. His 20s were quiet, silence, rejection, no's, and pain. His 30s made him global. A global fucking superstar. Now we see him all the time on award shows. Like, yo, what kind of that's a bit hater. We're actually tired of seeing Trevor Noah his award shows, man. He's a funny guy, but damn. Actually, no, man. Let's get somebody else out here. But he deserves it. Like, you go through that pain, suffering. You deserve what comes next for you, man. All the awards, all the plaudits, all the recognition, all the success, all the money, man. The point of me mentioning all these people is for you to realize that none of these people, it's just a few examples. I can keep going on and on and on. But none of these people made it huge in their 30s. They may have one person here might have had like a little breakthrough where it felt like, oh, finally we have a break, we can move forward a little bit. But none of it was this groundbreaking, oh my days, I just got to a role being a leader of this show in my 20s. It was none of that. It was suffering. It was long periods of silence, doubts, everything creeping in, fear, rejection, no's. People around you will say some things. People will whisper around you about you. And all these times, you have to just stick to what you want, if you even do know what you want for yourself. And just keep on going. But none of it came easy. It took 10 years to become an overnight success. So what exactly are your 20s for? This has been the most painful part because I think your 20s are for the fire. I'm still early on, so I don't want to speak like I'm an expert what I'm talking about. But I believe your 20s are for the fire. Your 20s are for burning the false identities that you're attached to. Your 20s are for healing yourself in ways that you could have recognized that you were suffering from. It's the decade when you try on versions of yourself. And most of them won't fit to the person that you actually want to be. But you try it on to figure out what works and what doesn't work. Who am I? And what do I need to get rid of? What do I truly believe? And what has been forced upon me to believe? You change jobs. You change industries that you work in. You outgrow relationships, friendships. You get new interest. You shed some of the weight on you. You shed some of the things, expectations that have been placed on you. You abandon any way in your life that once felt like was your destiny because it no longer connects with you and who you're trying to be as a person. And that's completely fine. It's completely fine for you to work so hard to get to this point and then you realize, I don't want to fucking do this. It's okay. Like, there are no rules to this thing. Like, don't kill yourself. Don't put that pressure on yourself. Like, if you're thinking it, there's a very high chance that many other people are thinking it as well. Like, you're not alone in this. Like, and that's the point I'm trying to create here, like with the community aspect of Stay Sonder. Like, you are not alone. You don't have to do this life thing alone. Like, anyone who tries to make you feel like you're weird or you're behind or for having these questions or doubts about yourself or like trying to figure out you don't really know what's next. These are people that you just simply don't have to be around. Like, it's just anything for you to conversate with that person about. Like, we're all still trying to figure shit out. We're all still trying to make things happen. Like, minds are speeding every day. Like, what am I really doing? What am I not doing well? Like, where am I stepping on? Where am I stepping to next? Like, these are all natural questions that we all have. Anyone who pretends to have it all figured out so early on is just a fucking liar. And that's, it's great to figure out the lies, but sometimes it's just unnecessary. Like, sometimes all you really need is no advice from anyone else, but just the knowledge that, okay, like, I'm not crazy. I'm not going through this alone. Like, the other people here with me, that means a lot in itself when you know that there are other people there with you that are experiencing the same emotions and fears that you're feeling. So this phase is called the emergent adulthood. Because it's not about clarity, it's about motion, experimentation, becoming. The pain of letting go is not a sign that you're behind. It's a sign you are becoming. And I like the becoming word because it reminds me a lot of the I am like phrase, and it's important to remember that the becoming, the revelation of who you really are. It all sounds very dramatic, but it is a very dramatic step and process. And it would be as dramatic if you had a million people around you watching you strip away your false beliefs and getting to know who you really are as a person and what you really want as a person. Slowly becoming the greatest version of yourself, the highest version of yourself. Letting the God in you reveal itself away from all the layers that have been placed on you to hide who you truly are and what you're really capable of doing. No matter how long it takes. The clarity comes from the chaos, not from control. To anyone who's an overthinker out there and is afraid to trust people, this part of the message may not be for you. Man. Like, this part of the message is for you actually, but it's going to be tough for you to accept. You can't plan your way into knowing who you are. You have to live into it. You have to make mistakes and stumble into it. You have to trust that the universe is paving a way for you even when you can't see your way. You have to trust that when you're stepping into places that make no sense for you, it makes no sense because no one else has ever gone through that same path that you're on. You're creating your own path, so it feels rougher. There are no tracks for you to follow, so it's scary. But if you truly believe at the end of all of this, you're going to get to a resting point, a point where there'll be more than enough for you, more than you can imagine and more than you can think of, and you really believe in that, then every step you take where you create your own track, you're stepping with and walking with the belief and the knowing. The knowing is important, not the belief. The belief is the first part. The knowing is the important part, that you're going to get to where you want to get to. That should put your mind at ease. It shouldn't create more anxiety in yourself of, what if I get lost? What if I fall? What if I fail? With every step, you're getting closer to what you know about who you are and who you're becoming. You stumble, you try, you regret, you learn, you cry. That's how you shape the life you want for yourself. That's how you begin to emerge. Alamat said, "You are under no obligation to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago." You don't owe anyone shit. It's the summary of that. You don't owe anyone a fucking thing. If you used to like something and you no longer like it, it is what it is. If people tell you you're changed, you always tell them, I like the Jay-Z bar of, people tell you change, like you work this hard to stay the same. Like, that's the whole fucking point. You're supposed to grow. And be very careful around close-minded people, man. They will trap you in a life that's not worth living very quickly. Very, very quickly. It's your 20s, man. Nothing is fixed. Everything is in play. And let that be the bells of freedom for you. Don't be afraid to try things that look stupid. Now, the third part is probably the toughest part. And I tried to talk about this in another episode. But I don't know. And I tried to explain this part of it that no one really talks about, which is the growing pains. The growing pains. And it's the idea of grieving the parts of you that you lose as you keep growing. And people talk about growth like it's just expansion and abundance. And part of growth sometimes is not even adding onto yourself. Part of growth is just removing the layers from yourself. And it sounds easy, but if you attach yourself to certain things, certain people, certain beliefs, certain ideas, even just never just externally, but also about yourself, when you have to get rid of it, there's a loss associated with this. And sometimes you grieve over those things without realizing that you're grieving over those things, and you start to question yourself, which is why sometimes you find it hard to just move on from something or from someone. It's attached to a part of you that you want to hold on to. And whatever that may be, for the girls out there, man, maybe that was a guy. For the guys, maybe that was a girl before. Maybe it was some feelings you have for someone. Maybe it was an idea of where you're going to be by this age, according to the checklist you made when you were fucking 12 years old. A job you had, maybe you got fired. For the older listeners out there, a job you never even got in the first place because you got rejected. Inner peace, some happiness that you imagine for yourself that you're receiving. And now you're at this point and you're like, oh, this looks nothing like what I imagined for myself. And you grieve over the fantasy and the idea. And then you associate that with failure because it's not reality. Grieving the fantasy is not failure. It's evolution. You have to learn to live well with what isn't for you. And you're allowed to say, hey, I thought it was going to look different for me. And you can still decide, even when you acknowledge that part, that you're still going to build something beautiful and meaningful. Even if today is not what you imagined your today to look like. If you stay in your feelings and you start to grieve and cry and stress and worry over the idea in your mind, you're going to find it very hard to be present right now, the opportunity you have today, and the life you get to live today. The storm will pass at some point. And when it does, what do you want to see with you? What do you want the sun to shine on around you? The idea that you had that's long gone, or do you want to go out and create something even greater? There's a quote from it's a Nigerian actually parable. It's a Nigerian parable, I think. The parable the right word, whatever it is, and it goes to Yoruba, but I'll say it in English. So like when the king's palace burns, the more beautiful one is built. And I like that line. I don't know if I call it parable, but I like that line because if the idea in your mind is gone, then build something greater that gives you joy that the idea never even materialized in the first place. That has to be where your mindset is. That has to be what motivates you. And whatever aspect that is, if you're a lover girl, man, and love is your only goal in life, then go create a love story that's worth living 10 times over and over again. Like if yours is success and career success and all that, like do what you have to do that's necessary for you to in 2 years look back on it and be like, damn, like this, I never ever thought I was gonna get this far at this point. Not in a toxic way, in a way that's filled with that fills you with life, a way that gives you the marker of, okay, I'm moving forward. Don't just stay with your feelings of today and live in that sadness. It's not worth it. So when I say the 2 years thing, I don't mean just kill yourself over 2 years. That's how I felt like my mind works. And I have to remind myself to live and enjoy today, honestly. Sometimes you need the markers of success, and you like, even when I went jogging the other day, and I did like about 3.2 miles altogether, 3 point something miles altogether. And on my way back, I was so fucking tired. So to motivate myself, I'll see someone just walking from a certain distance from me. I'll be like, okay, I'm going to run and I'm going to make sure I pass that person. And then I'll pass that person. At one point, there's a couple, I don't even know what they were doing, I don't know what they were holding. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get past these guys as well. And I just kept running and running. Like, and they're far, man. These guys were walking quickly. But I kept running until I caught them, and then I kept running after I caught them. And I looked back at some point, I was like, damn, I can't even see them anymore. Now they may have turned, but in my head, yeah, they were still walking. I was just too far ahead. And then at some point, I was very close to my house at this point, like, and I could see this woman that was probably in the 70s or 80s, like, this is a hill at this point that I'm running up. She's probably, I don't know, 70s or 80s. She just on her walk, you know. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna make sure I beat this old woman, man. Like, now that's sick. But shout out to her for being a useful tool for me to motivate myself. So she was walking, doing her thing, and I was like, she was far up that hill already. Like, shout out to her for real. But I was like, yo, I'm gonna get past her, like, before she gets to the intersection. And that's really what I did. I just kept running. I just kept running and running and running. And the whole time I'm looking at other people to motivate myself, but this whole thing was a competition between the version of me on that day that I was running and the past version of myself that I ran a week before that, sorry. And the week before that, I was fucking tired. Like, I was barely walking. I just wanted to get home and just stay on the floor. Like, that's how tired I was. But this time around, like, I was going for more and more. I was pushing myself to go for more. So it looks like I'm looking at other people, but honestly, like, I was just competing against myself. And every time I felt like I had done enough, I was like, I just shut my mind off. I just kept going and running. And that has to be the mindset with whatever you want to accomplish as well. Like, if you grieve over, oh, I didn't even get to do this, I didn't get to do that, like, find a way to push yourself, find a way to motivate yourself. The road to hell it feels like heaven. It's very comfortable for you to be on the path of failure, and it'll just be so easy going. And then you look up one day, you're like, oh shit, like, 15 years gone of my life and I have done nothing with it. Like, don't be that guy. Don't be that person. Like, just keep going. Just keep going. Keep pushing. Enjoy life while you're at it. Enjoy life with the people you love. Enjoy the experiences with those people. Enjoy it all. Take pictures. Do all of that. Like, it's important that the story is well rounded. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And systems are built one unglamorous, thankless day at a time. That was written by James Clear. All that means is you have to show up. You show up when you feel behind. You get up when no one is watching, which is many times. And you do the work when no one is clapping for you. The idea of the gladiator, the movie, and in the arena, and he's fighting all these guys, and you're watching the spectators just sing his name, and it's intoxicating. It's a feeling that we all want to have, but it doesn't start there. It starts with training. It starts with him working out. It starts with all the wars he had to fight. It starts with so much more that we did not see. And at this part that we did not see, no one else is going to see you as well. No one's going to watch you. You just have to push yourself, develop yourself, train yourself, show up for yourself, believe in yourself, give yourself the continuous effort. That's the part of the story that truly matters. That's the part of the story that really makes you become the person that you want to be. What's the point of that? What's the point of following someone that doesn't even know how to take control, doesn't believe they have what it takes to take the reins? Like, yo, are we wasting our time here? It's like going on a plane with a pilot that is afraid to land the plane. It's like, guy, what? You can either land this plane or you can't. It's like, and if you can't, let me get off, please. I'm not about to convince you that you can't land the plane. That's a risky game. It's not even worth that. All your 20s are is for you to build a baseline, a foundation. There's not the time for you to think about making $1 billion by 30, man. Shout out to people who can get that done, by the way. I'm not saying it's impossible. Nothing is impossible in life, but that won't be the reality for most people. You know, it wasn't even the reality for Warren Buffett as well. So it's not going to be reality for most people. It takes time. So it's not about building all of that in 2 years or 3 years. Keep your standards high for where you want to be and who you want to become and what you want to do. But every day, make sure that you have an achievable goal in mind that makes sense. Like, not something based on numbers, but something based on effort. And measure whether your day is successful by that one effort. It's like, did I take the necessary step for myself? Your mind had told you you're not doing enough. It's a lie. Like, it's a fucking lie. It's a lie. You're doing much more than most people are. I'm talking about people in the 20s, I'm talking about most people in life are doing. If you can show up for yourself every day, not something incredibly large, something little, just something little for yourself. There are people in their 40s that have never read a book. There are people in their 60s that have never finished a book. I'm not saying like a book is like a do or die thing, but there's a lot of knowledge to be gained from reading that could expand your thinking or prompt a new idea. There are people who have never finished a book and they're in their 60s. And I'm saying that not to shit on those people or make them feel bad about it. Make it seem like those people are bums or whatever. Like, no, it's just so you can understand that the little effort that you think means nothing today adds up to something large. So even if it's 3 lines or 4 lines, or you finally Google something that you've been thinking about and you read that quick AI summary that adds a little bit of knowledge to what you're thinking and to who you are, like, it matters. Like, when I go to the bank, they're trying to convince me to open up a savings deposit account. Again, it's not the second time someone's trying to do that. And I'm like, guy, no. Like, you know, no, thank you. Like, you want me to, I don't have kids, bro. I don't have kids. I have no responsibilities. You want me to put X amount down and then in a year's time, and I'll put in the savings deposit accounts. I can't touch the money. And in a year's time, you're giving back access to my money. Right. So in that year's time, you're going to take the money as the bank, invest in whatever business it is, whatever interest rate, maybe 10%, whatever. I don't know what the interest. I think it's 10%. Something incredibly high, right? Make your money off my money, keep the interest, and then return my money to me with nothing added on. Like, with what? With the, I don't know, savings interest. Like, how does that work? So you go home with the larger cuts from my money. And it could work if you have multiple accounts already set up and you still have more money. It's like, all right, cool. Like, I might as well. But you're someone who's starting off your life and you're thinking about it, you're like, why would I do that? But that comes from little knowledge. Like, I don't even claim to be deep financial wizard or whatever. But from little knowledge, you think to yourself, well, the bank they want my money for a reason. Like, they want to do this and that. Like, okay, the fuck? What makes more sense for me to maximize my returns? I know the bank's returns. So rather than the bank taking on that risk, which is what they're going to do, right? Which is why they're going to collect that interest from whoever they give the money out to. How do I cut the bank out of this equation or just do it directly myself? That comes from little knowledge, very little knowledge, that the many people who open these accounts that don't already have any of these things set up already will be thinking, yo, that's a great opportunity. Oh yeah, sure, why not? And then how would they play you? They'll maybe when you come into the bank, they'll give you the best treatment possible, treat you like your royalties because they have your money and they're making more money. Or they're making more money than you off your money. But they'll make it seem like they're doing you a favor and they're taking care of you and they love you and all that shit. Like, it's all a game. It's a very great game, but show for yourself and gain the knowledge so you don't be getting played and finessed out here in these streets. So stop measuring speed and honor the depth that you're building. You're not missing your moments. You're not missed your opportunity. You're not behind. You're living the chapters that will one day explain everything. It's the beginning of the story of something epic, something incredible. The people who end up happiest, not the prodigies, not the early bloomers. It's the ones who stayed in the work. The ones who kept going when they saw no results. The Viola Davis of this world, the Elizabeth Gilbert of this world that were fucking waitresses for how many years and just so they can pay the rent so they can keep on writing. Getting rejected and rejected and rejected, no's on no's on no's, looking like it's nothing but failures surrounding them. And the whispers of despair, of doubts, of fear. And in the face of all of that, they kept going. They showed up. They built the depth they needed to become the people that they are. So they could have this story that was really worth telling. Who cares how you live? If your story is dead, then if your story is dead, once you die with this. That's it. No one cares. No one's gonna think, oh yeah, they were cool. Like how exactly do you want your memorial to go or your fucking obituary to go? Like, what is the story you're trying to leave to the world of who you are and who you became? Who am I? I am who I am. Burn the fucking timeline, the fake timeline they've given you. Enjoy the uncertainty that you're in right now. Sit in it because it's going to form the beginning of a story worth telling. Let the uncertainty fuck you up. The uncertainty play with your mind. Create that chaos and that mess. Because it's all part of the process. This is Stay Sonder. Stay patient, stay bold, stay brave. And as always, stay Sonder.